You need to hear this if you're an American. Trump's new tariffs are here. Higher prices on imports, more jobs at home, tougher trade talks, impacted businesses, and changes for consumers. How Trump's new tariffs will affect Americans? 5 things to know. Stay tuned for more. Remember to like and subscribe for more Money Smart Basics videos. Stay until the end to receive a bonus tip. If you have any suggestions for financial literacy topics, please leave a comment. Look in the description below for wealth-building tools and income opportunities. Hello America, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving headfirst into a topic that's about as dry as a popcorn fart in a sauna, but infinitely more impactful on your wallet. Trump's new tariffs. Now I know what you're thinking. Tariffs? Alfonso, I'd rather watch paint dry while listening to a dial tone. And to that, I say, fair enough. But much like that weird stain on your carpet you've been meaning to clean, ignoring this won't make it go away. These tariffs, my friends, are about to ripple through the American economy like a bad burrito through a digestive tract. We're talking higher prices, job losses, and enough economic uncertainty to make a Wall Street trader spontaneously combust. So buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to unpack the top 5 things you need to know about how Trump's new tariffs will affect you, your family, and probably even your neighbor's dog. Let's get into it. First up, let's talk about the overall economic impact. Think of the US economy like a giant, slightly greasy cheeseburger. Now these tariffs, they're like someone just dumped a bucket of cold, tariff-flavored water all over our delicious cheeseburger economy. GDP, or gross domestic product, is like the calorie count of our economy. Economists predict these tariffs could put a real damper on GDP growth. We're talking potentially shaving off a significant percentage point or more. Slower GDP growth means businesses are less likely to invest and hire. It's like a game of economic Jenga, and Trump just pulled a pretty crucial block. Next up, let's talk about everyone's favorite party guest inflation. Remember that feeling of joy when you were a kid and $1 could buy you a king-size candy bar and a can of soda? Well, thanks to these tariffs, those days are about as gone as my faith in the Electoral College. See, tariffs make it more expensive to import goods from other countries. And when those costs go up, guess who gets to foot the bill? That's right, folks, you, the American consumer. It's like a game of economic hot potato, except the potato is on fire, and we're all stuck holding it. We're talking about higher prices on everything from cars and appliances to clothing and food. And before you say, Alfonso, I don't buy imported avocados, I'm safe, think again. These tariffs will impact prices across the board, even for domestically produced goods. So, get ready to kiss those sweet, sweet sales goodbye and say hello to your new best friend, inflation. Because trust me, it's going to be a bumpy ride. And finally, no discussion about the overall economic impact of these tariffs would be complete without mentioning the dreaded T-word, trade war. That's right, folks, by slapping tariffs on goods from other countries, we're essentially starting a trade war. And much like an actual war, this one is likely to have a lot of casualties. See, when we impose tariffs on goods from other countries, they often retaliate with tariffs of their own. It's like a playground fight, except instead of spitballs and wedgies, we're using billions of dollars worth of goods. And let me tell you, nobody wins in a trade war. These tit-for-tat tariffs can disrupt global supply chains, increase uncertainty in the markets, and ultimately hurt economic growth around the world. It's like a game of economic dominoes, and one wrong move could send the whole global economy tumbling down. So, there you have it, folks. The overall economic impact of these tariffs is shaping up to be about as pleasant as a root canal performed by a drunk dentist. But hey, at least we'll have each other, right? Right? Alright folks, now that we've covered the economic doom and gloom, let's talk about something a little closer to home. Your wallets. Because if there's one thing these tariffs are guaranteed to do, it's make your wallets cry themselves to sleep at night. See, tariffs are essentially taxes on imported goods, and when those goods become more expensive, guess who gets to pick up the tab? That's right, you, the American consumer. It's like being stuck in a never-ending game of economic hot potato, except the potato is your bank account and it's slowly being roasted alive. We're talking about higher prices on everything from electronics and appliances to clothing, footwear, and even food. That new iPhone you've been saving up for? Yeah, it just got a whole lot more expensive. Those cheap and cheerful instant ramen noodles that get you through tough times? Say goodbye to those bargain basement prices, my friend. These tariffs are going to hit American consumers right where it hurts, their wallets. And for many families, it's going to mean making some tough choices about what they can and can't afford. Now I know what you're thinking. Alfonso, I'm a savvy shopper. I'll just buy American-made products and avoid those pesky tariffs. And to that I say, good luck with that. Because in today's globalized economy, it's virtually impossible to completely avoid imported goods. Take your weekly grocery run, for example. Sure, you might be able to find American-made meat and produce, although those prices are likely to go up too, thanks to increased demand. But what about those imported cheeses, fruits, and vegetables that add a little variety to your life? Yeah, those are about to get hit with the tariff stick. And don't even get me started on processed foods. Many of the ingredients in those convenient little packages come from overseas. So even if the final product is assembled in the good old US of A, those tariffs are still going to trickle down to you, the consumer. So, get ready to say goodbye to your favorite imported treats and hello to a whole lot of bland American-made alternatives. Bon appetit, or whatever the opposite of bon appetit is. And it's not just everyday essentials that are going to get more expensive, folks. Those little luxuries we all work so hard for, yeah, those are about to become a whole lot more unattainable. Take cars, for example. Many popular car models are assembled in the United States, but they often rely on imported parts. So those tariffs on steel and aluminum, yeah, those are going to translate into higher prices for both imported and domestically produced cars. And don't even get me started on vacations. Those all-inclusive trips to exotic destinations, those are about to get a whole lot more exclusive thanks to higher airfares and hotel rates. So if you've been dreaming of that European getaway or that new car smell, you might want to start tempering your expectations. Because thanks to these tariffs, the American dream is starting to look a lot like a clearance sale at a dollar store. Alright, let's talk about how these tariffs will actually impact American businesses because, as with most things Trump touches, it's not as simple as he'd have you believe. Some industries might see a temporary boost, a sort of sugar high of protectionism, while others will be left sucking on a lemon, wondering where it all went wrong. And let's be clear, we're not talking about some abstract economic concept here. We're talking about real businesses, with real employees, and real families who depend on them. The tariffs are like throwing a wrench into the delicate machinery of international trade, and the fallout is going to be messy. Now, the Trump administration would have you believe that these tariffs are going to bring back manufacturing jobs like it's 1955 again, and everyone's walking around with a pin curls and a pack of unfiltered Lucky Strikes. But the reality is far more complicated. While some companies might benefit in the short term, many more will face higher costs for raw materials, leading to either thinner profit margins or, you guessed it, higher prices passed on to consumers. And nobody wants to be the one explaining that price hike in this economy. Let's start with manufacturing, shall we? Because nothing screams American economic dominance like a good old-fashioned factory floor. The tariffs, in theory, are supposed to protect American manufacturers from foreign competition, but the law of unintended consequences has a nasty habit of rearing its ugly head. See, many manufacturers rely on imported materials to make their products. Think of it like this. You can't build a car entirely out of American-made steel if you can't afford the steel in the first place. The tariffs make those imported materials more expensive, which eats into profits, and can even make American goods more expensive than their foreign counterparts. And let's not forget about retaliation. Our trading partners aren't exactly known for just sitting back and taking it when you slap tariffs on their goods. They often retaliate with tariffs of their own, targeting key American exports like agriculture. It's a trade war, people, and there are no winners in a trade war. The bottom line is this: the manufacturing sector is in for a bumpy ride. Some businesses might see a small temporary benefit, but many more will be left struggling to adapt to this new uncertain landscape. Now let's move on to agriculture because the plight of the American farmer is near and dear to politicians' hearts, at least when it's convenient. Farming is the backbone of this country, or so we're told every election cycle. But these tariffs are about as welcome as a swarm of locusts during a harvest. See, agriculture relies heavily on exports. We're talking soybeans, corn, pork, you name it, we grow it and we sell it to the world. But guess what happens when you slap tariffs on goods from countries that buy a lot of those products? Yep, they start looking elsewhere for their soybeans and pork, which leaves American farmers stuck with a surplus and nowhere to sell it. The Trump administration has tried to soften the blow with billions of dollars in subsidies, which is essentially just a fancy way of saying hush money to the agricultural industry. But these subsidies are, at best, a band-aid on a gaping wound. The tariffs are disrupting long-standing trade relationships, creating uncertainty in the market, and ultimately hurting the very people they were supposed to help. And that, my friends, is the great American tragedy of it all. Let's talk jobs. Trade wars are like toddlers throwing spaghetti at a wall. We have to consider the impact on people who need to pay rent. Some industries might see a temporary bump, cheap domestic steel from tariffs. But who buys the overpriced steel? It's not an economic magic trick. Jobs created in one sector, lost in others. Companies raise prices, leading to fewer customers and employees. Eventually the whole thing collapses. And who's left holding the pieces? American workers. Now let's address the elephant in the room, or perhaps more accurately, the robot diligently assembling cars in the factory while wearing a tiny elephant costume automation. Even if, and it's a big if, some manufacturing jobs did come back, they wouldn't be the same jobs lost. Those jobs went to live with Elvis in a retirement community on the moon. Companies have been replacing human workers with machines faster than you can say, trade deficit. It's cheaper, more efficient, and the robots don't ask for time off to go on strike because their wages haven't increased in 40 years. So, promising to bring back manufacturing jobs is like promising to bring back the dinosaurs. It sounds impressive until you realize it's a terrible idea that will likely end in tears, economic devastation, and a lot of very angry T-Rexes. The truth is, the job market is changing, and it's changing fast. Tariffs or no tariffs, automation and globalization are transforming industries in ways we're only beginning to understand. What we need are long-term solutions, not short-sighted protectionist policies that ultimately hurt the very people they claim to help. We need to invest in education and training programs to prepare workers for the jobs of the future, not the jobs of the past. We need to think about things like universal basic income and retraining programs to help people transition to new careers. Because clinging to the past is like clinging to a melting ice cube. It's not going to end well for anyone. Okay, so we've talked about job losses, rising prices, and the general sense of impending doom that comes with a trade war. But let's zoom out for a second and consider the long-term economic implications, because this isn't just about the price of washing machines today, it's about the stability of the global economy tomorrow. See, businesses crave stability. They need to be able to plan for the future, make investments, and feel confident that the rules of the game won't change on a whim. But when you start slapping tariffs on everything that moves, you create uncertainty. And uncertainty is like that friend who says they'll be there in 5 minutes but then shows up 3 hours late, covered in glitter and smelling vaguely of regret. It's not reliable, it's not helpful, and it tends to make everyone very, very nervous. Now, here's the other fun part about trade wars. They tend to escalate faster than a game of Monopoly between siblings on a rainy afternoon. Because other countries aren't just going to sit back and say, "Oh, you want to play dirty? Well, golly gee, that's just fine by us." No, they're going to retaliate. They'll put tariffs on our exports, making our products more expensive and less competitive in the global market. And then what happens? Well, it's a slippery slope, my friends. 1 minute you're arguing over washing machines, the next minute you're embroiled in a full-blown trade war with everyone from your allies to the country you accidentally insulted because you couldn't remember its name on a geography quiz. It's a domino effect of economic chaos and nobody wins. But perhaps the most insidious long-term consequence of these protectionist policies is the erosion of global cooperation. For decades, the world has been moving towards greater economic integration. breaking down barriers to trade, and fostering international cooperation. It hasn't been perfect, not by a long shot, but it's been better than the alternative. A world divided by suspicion, tariffs, and the constant threat of economic warfare. When we retreat into our corners and start throwing up economic walls, we're not just hurting ourselves financially, we're undermining the very fabric of global cooperation. We're saying that we're not interested in working together to solve common problems, that we'd rather go it alone, even if it means we all end up worse off. And that's a dangerous, short-sighted, and frankly, incredibly stupid game to play. So, there you have it. The potential fallout from these tariffs is about as pleasant as a root canal performed by a drunk badger. It's messy, it's painful, and it's probably going to leave a scar on the global economy for years to come. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates on important economic issues. See you next time. Congratulations, you made to the end of the video. Here is the bonus tip that we promise. Everybody is looking for ways to save money. Those tariffs on goods like washing machines and steel. They're hitting your wallet hard. Stay tuned to see how you're paying the price. The information in this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and is not intended as financial advice. We are not financial advisors, and the content should not be construed as professional financial advice. Always seek the advice of a qualified financial advisor or other professional regarding your specific financial situation. The use of any information provided in this video is solely at your own risk. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment for more Money Smart Basics videos.